and I just start crying, just like zor se, I just start sobbing. 2 weeks after I made that call, I got fired. This video mentions certain mental health issues, so if you think that might trigger you, feel free to skip it. I have a degree in computer science engineering, although that is not what I wanted to do with my life. Clearly, this is what I wanted to do. I'm trying to turn this into a full-time job. It's my dream, and you can make that dream come true by hitting that like button, subscribe button, and watching this video till the end. And let me tell you what kind of a computer engineer I am. I had done pretty poorly on my engineering entrance exams, but thankfully I had gotten into a pretty decent college in our city. And all throughout the 6 semesters of computer science engineering, let me tell you, I grasped only 1/10 of it. I don't know how I got through those 3 years of computer science engineering, but because the course load was so not practical based and more theory based, I somehow got through it without failing a subject even once. That's a flex, by the way, not having a single failed subject all throughout engineering. And the biggest part is that a computer science engineer is supposed to know how to code. Me? I cannot even print hello world code for shit. I tried private tuitions, I tried YouTube based courses, I tried to learn on my own, but something about it is just so beyond me that I just could not crack that whole thing, and it made me feel so guilty, underconfident, so ashamed of myself, because everyone around me in my engineering college was building apps, building websites, doing these side projects and hustles, and I was like, these details are important for later in the story as to how it relates to me being fired from my very first job. Back to the job. There was no specific job description, no specific role which they were hiring for. It was a trainee role, which is normal for freshers who are straight out of college. The hiring process was pretty simple: an aptitude test, a group discussion, and then a formal technical/non-technical interview. Last part, the interview part, it didn't go too well. They didn't ask me too many technical questions, and whatever they did ask me, I'm pretty sure I gave very unsatisfactory answers because I was not that technically sound. I was pretty sure I wasn't going to get selected. So I went back to my hometown to stay with my parents. And by that point, I was pretty tired, and I had a lot of, and so I went back home to rest a little and start to think what to do with my life. And then came the biggest plot twist. So I'm back in my hometown, chilling, and it's around 8 p.m. at night, and I get a phone call by the HR of the company who are saying that they want to do a second interview with me the very next day with the managing director. What? So I start panicking, like, how am I going to get to this interview? Can this interview be postponed? Is it necessary for me to go to this interview? Do I even want to go to this interview? In the end, after discussing with my parents, we decided that I will go to the interview, give the interview, and see how it turns out. They were secretly hoping that I would get the job so that I would become financially independent, which makes sense. All the parents want their kids to be financially independent, and they had no idea I was struggling so much with my mental health. So they booked me a very expensive flight, and I get to the city at like 11 at midnight. I'm in their office at 8 a.m. I have barely slept. I'm trying to think of what the managing director might ask me and what even I should prepare. That interview also didn't go too well. He mostly just wanted to chat with me about how my engineering experience was, about what my favorite subjects were. And I still remember I said my favorite subject was microprocessor, which is not true. I didn't have a single favorite subject. And then he asked me questions about microprocessor because it was apparently my favorite subject. I couldn't answer a single one of them. And again, I was so very sure that I wasn't going to get selected. And lo and behold, I got the offer letter 3 days later, a week after I joined, and we were put into a super intensive 6-week Java coding training session. Trust me, the amount of anxiety I have had in those 6 weeks is like top tier, like in top 3. So I try to do the course, try to do the assignments, and I suck. I like proper suck. The people around me are finishing their assignments, doing everything they want to do, enjoying the new posh campus the company has, and I am just struggling. I'm struggling like I have never struggled. And the cherry on top is that we were supposed to give an exam at the end of those 6 weeks, and the passing criteria was super high. It was not a theoretical based exam, purely coding, 5 coding questions, all code based, and at least 3 codes had to run. So I am in the conference room where the coding exam is being held, and I see the questions. I completely blank out. I have no idea where to even begin. I start panicking. I start sweating. I'm just looking at everyone else's faces who is also giving the exam. They have already started writing their codes in hands, doing the algorithm testing and all that. Algorithm testing, I don't even know if that exists. And I start panicking. The manager who is sitting there, who is making sure that we don't cheat, I ask him, can I go to the bathroom? I go to the bathroom. I'm panicking. I have my cell phone with me. I call my friend and I just start crying. Just like zor se, I just start sobbing. Just crying and I am not getting anything. I am just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing. I'm sweating right now just telling you about it. So my friend sort of calms me down, tells me to go and tell the manager that you are not feeling well and that you won't be able to give the exam. I do that. The manager says, okay, go home, we can deal with this later. And I thought maybe the problem is solved. So 2 days after that, they put me on a project. I'm like, cool. So I'm in this project for at least a month, and I'm like, maybe I can continue this job without giving this exam. But then the inevitable happens. So my manager asks me, did you not give that coding exam? And I said, no, I was not feeling well. Then he asked me, what happened? And I just break. I start sobbing in front of him because during that month, my mental health had just declined so rapidly. The project was fine, but it was killing my soul. And I just start sobbing in front of him. The manager is staring blank face at me and absolutely has no sympathy, which I kind of understand because I have heard women take advantage of this fact that they are feminine and then they can cry and then stuff gets done for them. I have heard such stories, so I don't blame him for not giving me any sympathy. It's not his job to take care of my mental health. So he lets me finish my story. Then he pulls out a form. He keeps it in front of me. He says, either you try to take that exam again, or you fill that form and you abscond this job. And if you don't do either of it, we fire you. There was no question of retaking that coding test. It was not like I was going to get magical coding powers in a week. So I took that application from my manager, filled it, and absconded. I know some people are going to say, oh, but you didn't get fired actually. You absconded. What choice did I have? Absconsion seems better on your resume than getting actually fired. I moved back to my hometown. My parents kindly allowed me to move back in with them. I do have another job right now. It's still in the IT sector. I have been working there for almost 4 years. It's decent but toxic in its own way. And I really wish I could quit that job and do YouTube as a full-time thing. I know this story doesn't exactly paint me in a good light. Some might even call me incompetent, lazy, dumb, but it's my story. And I own it. I will never be the person who is good at technology, technical things, coding. But I am this person. I made this cake with only the ingredients that were in my fridge and made it completely from instincts. And it looks pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. Even the frosting I made out of instinct with whatever was there in my refrigerator. It's raining, so I'm gonna quickly wrap this up. I hope you like this video. I hope you learn from my mistakes, and I hope you guys like and subscribe. Help me achieve my dream. Bye. Yeah, this studio is hanging on by a thread, by the way.